we live? There we are. We are live.
Oh,
Hello and welcome, welcome, welcome to the Enlightenment Exchange. Um, Again, if you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button. We'd greatly appreciate it. And you would avoid having John come over to your house and ring your doorbell or something incessantly.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
We've kind of started a new thing there. A lot of miles.
Anyway, we do appreciate each and every one of you that listen, and we know there are some of you that actually listen very regularly. Some of you listen to us on the podcast and not really directly on YouTube, so we appreciate you as well. And we love the idea that we can give you something to think about in a way that maybe is a little bit different than what's kind of out there. So I'm excited for this week's Joy Initiative, the Alchemy of Joy, because it just makes sense to me. It's an opportunity to take some things that maybe you like or you enjoy and combine them with other things that you like and enjoy and really create yourself a moment of
Hey, look, we got a
um
comment from Deborah. Hi, Deborah.
oh hey, uh,
Welcome.
glad to see you, Deborah. Glad to see you. Actually, I just saw her last night as well. So
Well,
she
I
heard
haven't, so I'm
she
glad to
heard
see
a
you.
little bit of the story of what I'm up to these days. So anyway, the idea that you can take and anyway, I mean, alchemizing, isn't that just something everybody wants to do? Like the alchemy of this or the alchemize that. I just alchemize is like one of my favorite words on the planet. The alchemy. I mean, at its earliest, I suppose, it was taking something and turning it into gold, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So if we look at joy as the gold standard, as the
Hmm.
gold of what it is we are seeking in our lives, um, alchemy might be the way to get to it. So I just have a few examples here. Taking your favorite drink and your favorite chair and sitting for 5 minutes. I mean, sounds renewing, doesn't it?
Hmm.
Or a candle and cozy socks, sitting outside and watching the sky. I mean, that's the thing. I always love that visualization for myself because it reminds me of Walt Disney when he said that we've kind of taught meditation away from the kids
Yeah.
by like I mean, how many hours did you spend looking at the sky watching the clouds go by when you were a kid?
Yep.
Meditation, my friend. That's
Yep.
meditation. Um, and this may be, I mean, this for me, journaling with a fun pen and drinking coffee from your favorite mug at the same, like a new notebook and a new set of pens. Wow. Right.
Yep.
But my very most favorite, a very
Oh,
good pair of scissors.
right.
And anybody that knew me uh in my old capacity where I had an actual office knew not to leave paper and scissors laying around anywhere where I could get my hands on them because the paper would actually not make it all in one piece. Just
Hey, I've got two from Deb here, watching the sunrise or sunset and watching the birds at our feeder. And I'm going to
okay,
contribute
so
one real quick. Oh, looks like we got some more comments here. Fabulous. All right, I will take care of that one. Oh, already gone.
yep. It's crazy. Anyway, that is not the way you elicit joy in your life, by the way. Although
Indeed.
I guess you can no longer hear us. So there you go. Um anyway, so the idea really is this to take a couple of things that give you a little spark and put them together in a way that creates a larger spark. Hide the comments, John, just hide the comments.
Done.
um what like I don't know. You know what still gives me joy?
Tell me.
The 64, right? The Crayola
Oh,
64
wow. Yeah,
and
that's a special pair.
blank paper. Like, and then if you can combine that with an iron, and iron it onto fabric, I mean,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
in,
I
right?
believe in
Like
that.
that just makes me smile
Yeah.
well, I am basically 12. We've established this. I'm
So
12.
my
So,
thing is music. So one of the joyful things is listening to one of my favorite um, playlists or artists. Also, I like to learn how to play instruments, and so
Yeah.
I picked up a new one, and it is just a real joy to have my. So just back up a second. I bought a ukulele when we came back from our trip, and I decided, you know what? I'm going to practice. I'm just going to play 10 minutes a day, no matter what, just 10 minutes.
There you go.
And it's it works. I'm astounded at how much I've learned how to play it in 10 minutes a day, and we're just coming up on the first month. That's joy.
Wow. See, I mean, it's interesting that you say that because I'm not what you would call musically inclined, right? Uh, Flat. I know I'm flat. Like it just is what it is. I do not have what you would call perfect pitch. Um, but the minute you said music and I equate that with joy,
Yep.
I see an auto harp.
Oh yes, that's my
I
other
see it.
instrument that I
I
really
see an
enjoy.
auto harp. I mean, just something about
Auto
the
harps are
the
awesome.
yeah, and there's just something about the function of it and the crisscross and I mean all of it. It
Yep.
just
Yeah,
so
couldn't agree more.
so what would be the exercise? We're coming to the end already of the Joy Initiative time. What would you recommend for somebody to do? You know what? Let's do something a little different. You pick one sort of category and I'll pick another category and let's see if we can put them together.
Okay.
That sounds kind of interesting.
All right.
So pick pick one thing from something tangible.
You mean like taking a walk or being in nature?
No, something tangible.
Oh, like a physical thing.
I was going to go for the other thing. But
Okay. So I'll
no,
pick.
that's okay. Well, whatever.
Um,
What you pick something you could do while you do something else, and I'll pick the something else. How's that?
I'm gonna pick an animal, like a pet, a, a
What if the
puppy.
person doesn't have a pet?
Then their assignment is to go get one.
Clear out the shelters. That would bring me so much joy. Okay, that one wasn't too well thought out. Let's just
Sorry.
come up with another.
How about
You
a
know
beach
what?
with
What
sand?
if we do this? What if we encourage people to take something they do as a ritual, a morning cup of coffee, an evening cup of warm milk or cocoa, or their favorite dessert, and combine it with sitting on the porch with it and watching the sunset, or um, taking it with them on a walk that they don't ordinarily do.
Mm-hmm. By the way, Deborah's got a great
Watch,
idea for the
there you
puppy.
go. Watch puppy
Watch puppy
videos
videos. If
while
you have a
doing what?
puppy, then you can watch puppy videos. But that's joyful. I mean, you can't. No one can deny that.
I know, but there are some people, which is really sad. I don't really actually trust people that don't like dogs, if you want to know the truth.
Right, because
She has her morning
wrong.
chai while watching the bird feeder. That is the alchemy of joy. Right?
Awesome. I agree. Yep.
So, okay, let's see. We're getting storms. So everything is laggy. The internet's laggy.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't had our storm yet, but I hear it's coming.
Yeah, well, I don't know. We got a battery charger on a car outside, so. All right. Anyway, that is find something that represents for you the alchemy of joy. The antics of the squirrels trying to get the feeder is fun. I'm telling you, I know people that get so upset about the squirrels eating the bird food. But how do the squirrels know it's not for them?
They don't.
Think about that for a moment. There's no sign. Nobody puts up a sign that says squirrels, not for you. This is for the birds.
There you go. All you need is a sign.
I'm thinking everybody goes by signs, right? Anyway, okay. So moving on. Find yourself a way to find some joy this week. Um, and that's really all I can say.
Mhm.
So you know what? This has been a little bit of a crazy day. So I didn't have the actual time that I normally have to prepare myself.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
We're winging it today, and that's a good
yeah,
thing.
it doesn't
That is a
always
good thing.
work. But I do want to talk about something that I really, really find interesting. Found to be that I really found to be an interesting conversation. I saw a post
Mhm.
today. And now, granted, it was somebody I know. I'm not going to give their name, and I don't even know what this actual thing is called, but it's the person said, and of course, they did the thing that I hate the most, which is they leave off the first word of the sentence. So the quote is anybody else avoid using, what is it called? M dash?
Yeah, an
M
EM
dash.
dash. Yep. Or an M
Now
dash.
in your post because you're worried people will automatically think ChatGPT wrote it when it was actually you.
Yep.
No,
That's
just
funny.
me.
I so I love punctuation. I love the N dash, the M dash, the semicolon, the colon, right? I'm kind of a grammar nut. And I had one of my articles that I wrote by hand flagged as AI.
Oh,
Fine.
well, interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, now in that case, I'm guessing you wrote an article that was meant to be written by you and they flagged it as AI
Yep.
because they wanted it written by you. That's what you agreed to do,
Right.
right?
Right.
Which I think is an entirely different situation from, let's say, a social media post,
True.
right? You were paid or not, you were paid or you received some sort of energy exchange for this article,
Yep. That's
even if
right.
it were just to be published in whatever the publication
Yep. It
was.
was a small deal, but
You
it was
made an
interesting.
agreement to do this article. They wanted to make sure. Now, I find it very sad that the thing that would separate you from AI is punctuation.
I know.
Like, why are we not all using the correct grammar? Why is everybody losing the first words of their sentences? And by the way, I have told ChatGPT I don't roll that way. Please
Mhm.
don't leave it like that. I don't like it. Um, but anyway, so this is what I think. First of all, I use that dash. I
Me too.
use that dash. I use dot, dot, dot. I use in parentheses XXX, where XXX represents words that I don't know what to put,
Mhm.
that have escaped me.
Yep.
Um, and on top of it, I almost said it. I don't really give a hoot if people think
Fine.
I wrote it or ChatGPT. Now, with that said, I think that some of this is fear consciousness, right?
Yep.
Some of it is what is that? Imposter syndrome
Mhm.
shenanigans.
Okay.
But,
Yep.
but the truth of the matter is, what I find ChatGPT to be, to me, is a copywriter. It's a copywriter that doesn't have an attitude, that
Yep.
doesn't have an ego, and that doesn't charge me $1 a word,
And actually gets their work done.
right? And quickly. So, John, I think I know where you stand on AI, which, from what I understand, the fact that we're on the same side of an equation doesn't really make this a very juicy conversation.
No,
But
but I got an idea on where this could go.
I would like to hear it. I'd really like to hear it because I would like to, just before we move on, I want to say that I am aware that anybody that came up through the sort of 80s and maybe early 90s with those smart homes fall in love with the protagonist movies and lock them in the house.
Yes,
I could
yes.
understand where maybe you might have a little bit of PTSD, so to speak, when it
Yeah,
comes to
yeah.
AI. Um, but those were what they were, uh, fiction movies.
Mhm. Indeed.
So, what do you think?
So, I think this goes right along the same lines as my question I was going to ask you, and that is this: at what point would you say AI has gone too far, or AI is now something that is scarier than it was in 2025 when we talked?
Oh, that's an interesting.
Yeah. What is the point for you where you're like, ooh, that makes me uncomfortable? And I'll tell you exactly what it is for me.
Well, I mean, I would be uncomfortable if they were using AI to manage the nuclear codes.
So basically, with weapons, and
Yeah,
I agree with that.
which Matthew Broderick, I believe, right? War Games,
Yeah, that's right.
right?
Would you like to play a game?
Yeah. My concern. Yeah, see, now I can agree with this. How AI generated art uses content from human artists without
Yep.
compensation.
It
Now
learned on you.
here is the problem with that. When people put in a command, and I don't know if there's an ability for programs like Midjourney to actually, um, maybe there's a way for them to shut this down, but the user puts in a command that says, I want an image of such and such and such and such in the style of Ansel Adams or in the style of Van Gogh. So that
Yep.
user should be held responsible for the plagiarism, right? And I mean, if you go on Pixabay, for example,
Mhm.
there's plenty of art that you can get that either requires attribution or no attribution, but you can use it for free. And then there's other pieces of imagery that you have to pay for
Mhm.
and attribute or not attribute, but that you have to pay for. So I think that if the person is alive, if the person referenced is alive, the program should flag that.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
comment
but
from Deborah is
I
important.
mean, I understand that point. It's similar, but no longer the original.
Mhm.
And to me, that's uh, I have a lot of thoughts on that.
Yeah, I know. I wonder what if the AI companies all put into a fund for artists, like a scholarship fund, and say, listen, we know we used your stuff to train our tools. Here's a scholarship fund, and you just have to apply to it. Um, and
I didn't think about the training the tools thing. I mean, they have to train the tool or it wouldn't know the style of Van Gogh
yep,
or whatever.
exactly.
Um, not being a corporate attorney, I don't really know, you know, I don't know where you go with that.
Yep.
I think that uh, actors had a very valid position on AI, but I find speaking about ChatGPT and speaking about Midjourney and video AI to be two very different things,
Yeah,
right?
certainly that it goes in different directions. Let me get back to my original question, which was, at what point would you say AI has gone too far? And you mentioned weapons. For me, the one thing that I just want to get out there, the one thing that kind of worries me is the ability for AI to um, interact on its own in the real world, like with physical objects. So I guess self-driving cars, that that hasn't gotten there for that has not gotten there yet for me. But beyond that, um,
Okay, so well, you brought it up, the self-driving car, and I am not going to bring up the obvious issues with such a thing. Yeah, we're not going there. So
all right.
just never mind. But
Right.
Uh,
I think the
first,
biggest thing
first of
though
all,
is the
the answer
weapon,
to me is no. I'm not getting in a damn self-driving car unless it's a self-driving trolley that's on a track.
which by definition, uh,
Hello.
it can't go anywhere.
Well, I mean, it's on a track,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Can't, can't. Although I did now, with that said, I did see a video where the guy got in the self-driving car, which I'm not going to mention the name of the brand because I'm just not gonna, and said, "Take me wherever you think I should go," or something of that nature. And it pulled up at Planet Fitness.
Oh, that's funny. That's hilarious.
Um,
Wow. Yeah, that's almost worth a
okay,
video.
so here's the thing. ChatGPT, can you interact on your own in the real world, chat? Nope. I can't initiate or interact in the real world unless someone types to me first. I don't monitor conversations, send messages on my own, or jump into chats uninvited. I am more like a really good mirror to your magical library. I reflect what you bring to me.
Right.
So in
When
the
that
real
gets
world,
surpassed,
when in the real world, I'm silent unless summoned, no surprise cameos, no AI photobombs. You can tell this is my chat GPT, right?
yes, yes.
Um,
But
would you
imagine if that were no longer the case.
right? Would you want something that could interact like that, or does it sound like way too much? No, I would not want that.
But thanks for asking.
Um, just to put that in there. But I, I think we're moving away from like what I really wanted the original flavor of the conversation to be as it relates to the idea that we speak to spiritual entrepreneurs. And I see a hello there from someone named Megan. So I'd like to send that back. I don't know. I hope we didn't miss it. But um, the reason I wanted to bring it up is that what I'm seeing out there is an awful lot of fear surrounding an awful lot of things.
Yeah. Yep. That's
And
why I brought that up is because of the fear.
right. But I would like to really remind people that they need to be discerning. Fear has an appropriate place in the human mind, right? You should be afraid of getting hit by a bus, and that keeps you from walking out into traffic, right?
Very true. Yes.
You should be afraid of burning your hand so you don't touch a hot stove, unless you forgot that you turned it off a few minutes ago, and well, that does happen. Um,
Uh-oh.
Well, I mean, it's just
Yeah.
I mean
No, I
that's why they have those handle holders for cast iron pots, which
yep.
I don't PS use because I can taste cast iron in my food.
Oh,
But I know it's horrible. So can my husband, by the way. But
no
anyway,
kidding. Wow.
yeah, I don't. It's weird, but whatever.
Huh.
Anyway, I would like to because I'm pretty sure the majority of the people that we speak with, speak to, are in this sort of spiritual entrepreneurship, not entrepreneurship, pathfinding
Yeah.
mission. And I would like to remind people that they should put their fear in the appropriate place. Chat GPT is just not the place for it.
Hmm.
Should you be afraid of the people that want to make those cars and want to make it turn the grocery store into a completely AI driven situation? Yeah, I think so. But I think that there are people in charge, so to speak,
Hmm.
who also carry that fear that might, sort of keep that from happening. I know that to some degree you feel like this is just sort of the growing pains of new technology.
Yeah, for sure.
um, so, are there fears that are appropriate? I think yes,
I got another
sort
one
of
that
those
just
things. Does
popped
that
into
make
my head.
sense? Hmm?
Yeah. So there's a possibility of interfacing electronic equipment directly to the brain.
Yeah, that's a big fat no for me, but go ahead.
Right. But here, would that affect our connection to spirit?
Oh, that's a really good question. Okay, and you know what? I mean, like, there is a possibility of directly connecting the tech to the brain. What does that mean to a paraplegic or a quadriplegic?
Right. That
What does
actually,
that mean to somebody who's nonverbal? I think
it's
a lot,
already helping. It's already
right?
helping. Same
Right?
thing as those cochlear implants, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, does it interfere with our connection to spirit? I get a resounding no.
Okay.
And absolutely not, because those are physical. aff- They did use the word afflictions. Those are physical afflictions. Um, and while they interfere with the senses, and let's face it, the connection to spirit is another sense.
Hmm.
It's not really the sixth, but we'll leave it at that. Um,
That's actually was one of my concerns, that
it
as technology grows and that stuff becomes more common, will it, the fear was that, what if that actually impacts our ability to connect to spirit? But
it
if
won't.
you're getting the message, no.
Now. And it shouldn't be a fear. I don't think fear is the appropriate word here, but
That's all right.
um, it very much like children no longer tell time on an analog clock and cannot make change.
Mm.
Um, they don't know how to play Foursquare unless it's on their tablet. Uh, if you know, think about as a child how much of what you did was intuitive in nature, even though you didn't know that's what it was.
Yeah.
So if you bypass the need for some of that intuition, that empathic response, if you will, yes, it could interfere,
Mm. Okay.
but only because one would not have awareness, right?
Hmm.
So if you have the ability and then for some reason need this sort of extra connection, would it take it away? No.
Okay.
Would it prevent you from acquiring it in the first place? Maybe.
Possibly. Interesting.
Yeah,
Wow,
that's
this is fascinating. This is
yeah,
really,
that's
and I'm so glad you've got connections
yeah,
to
right.
your guides
That
and
this is someone new called Altair.
ooh, Altair.
Altheire is her name, Altair. She
Oh,
holds a
wow.
lot of secrets.
Cool.
I
Tell her.
like it. Remember how we asked somebody new last week to
Yes.
come forward?
Yep.
This is
I did the same.
Altair.
I did the same. I got just a little hint of something, so I didn't pursue it. But
Well, but how do you expect to expand on it if you don't pursue it?
indeed.
That's okay. Um, that's okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
I've had I mean, I will say this. And I know that you use ChatGPT, and I
Right.
know a lot of people that use ChatGPT,
Yep.
and I know a lot of people that feel a lot of different kind of ways about it. Um, I, being the wonderful, beautiful, neurodivergent mess that I can be, really
We love you for it.
appreciate I really appreciate my ability to sort of channel stream of consciousness things into ChatGPT and its ability to take it and organize it and bullet point it for me in a way that now my human brain can relate to and understand.
Mm.
And that's where the real magic is in it for me. And the fact that the conversations are, remain within that nucleus, and your conversations with ChatGPT are not used as fodder for other people's conversations. Um, I think is I think is a really good thing. And I will say one more thing that I saw, and that was that people were a little upset that ChatGPT, and I know I'm speaking about ChatGPT in general, but it's what I've got experience with.
Yeah.
Um, that ChatGPT's information stops at June of 2024. And so Chat didn't know who the current president was. And so I was like, well, let me find out about that. It is true. The data set that ChatGPT has only goes up to January of 2024, which they are continually adding to, right?
Mhm.
Because I remember when I first signed up, it was back in 2021 or something,
Yep,
or
I got a
maybe even
comment on that.
2020. But when I asked about it, it was a really interesting response. The response was this: if we used real time data without any filter, then the information that you get within the tool would be the same chaos that you see on the news and
Oh,
social
interesting.
media and
Sure.
everything else. So it.
I use ChatGPT a lot for studying the markets. And when I ask a particular question like, what did today's market situation X, Y, and Z, how is that going to cause? What is it, what is that going to do for my particular positions? And it knows immediately because it goes to the sites where that stuff is,
Right, it goes to the internet.
right? But it grabs what it learns and it filters it for me on the fly.
Right.
And so it's really good at that.
I mean, so I'll tell you where else that's useful. We are running out of time for Chat GPT or for AI or whatever, which I'm going to have to go back and rename the episode because I had to hurry up and put it in. But this is very interesting because I was in session today, and I had a relevant conversation to the session work I was doing with Chat about something else. And so this person asked me, um, "Can Chat tell you about astrology?"
Absolutely.
I mean, crazy, absolutely.
It's really
To
good.
the extent that if you ask it for information about a date in the future, it will go and get the planetary information. And not only that, but you can get the information and then say to Chat, listen, can you please translate this into English that Angie can understand or
Oh,
John can
man, I
understand?
never thought of that.
Hmm.
I never thought of that.
Yep. And
Okay,
it
that's
totally shifted, like, because when you first read it, it gives you all these,
right, a
Mercury conjunct
conjunction and a
this and,
and a
and I'm
node
like,
there.
conjunction, junction, what's your function? Um, but anyway, let us appreciate it for what it is and
Mhm,
for the beauty of what it can do. Let me remind you that you can have conversations with this AI, and we do know people that have given it names. I just call it chat. Um, that just really allow you to maintain that flow and that stream of consciousness in a way that gives you a response that is free, that is completely from a state of neutral. So I think the more we understand things,
mhm.
the less we fear them, and the less we fear them, the less power they have over us. Does that make sense?
It does, very much so.
Um, okay, now we shouldn't both be doing this, and there's dead air, right? Anyway, so oh gosh, I can't. Hopefully, they don't need a signature. In
You need
what
to check
world
something?
does in what world does the UPS guy ring the doorbell anymore?
We have one of our our mail carrier, anytime she delivers a package, always rings the doorbell so that if you're home, you know, you can get it before the poachers do.
Oh, yeah, we don't have that here, so
We don't either in this area, it never does, but I think she just does it as a courtesy.
yeah, no, that's great. I mean, not to really totally complain, but um, sometimes you wonder because there was a time. I know some of you know that my husband is not well and that he's got a a form of cancer. And there was a medication that he got through the mail that was $26,000. Um, $26,000 should have had a signature.
You'd think.
No, it was sent signature required, and they
Okay.
just left it on the front porch.
Oh, they didn't obey that.
Didn't even ring the bell or anything. So,
Wow. That's interesting.
yeah. So anyway, all right. Well, we are coming into the end of our time, our 45 minutes. So for today, I want to do these a couple of these rapid fire questions.
Okay, good.
I think I figured out it's about 2 weeks before we get a new shipment of decks.
Okay.
I want to say it's like the middle of May, so maybe 2, maybe 3 weeks. So as you know, as a closing part of the show, we'll do new decks sometime. But for today, I'm just gonna pick from this list. Well, maybe we'll have time for two of them, so we can
Okay.
both answer.
All right.
What
And
is
and
what
we're
is
drawing a card on these, right?
if you want?
Okay.
You can no, I mean you can answer whatever you want.
All right.
The first question is what is one spiritual tool you couldn't live without? I already know the answer for that one
Dun,
for
dun,
you.
dun. Tarot.
Yeah, right?
Right.
Specifically, right?
Uh,
The Light Seers
Lightyear's Guide.
Tarot
Yeah.
by Chris
Yes. By Chris
by
Ann.
Chris Ann. For me, to be honest, it's meditation.
Okay. I
Not
said
a physical tool.
I almost
I
said
like
that.
the ability to go within and have these conversations in my head that I have. So,
You know what,
um,
Ange? As I think about it now, if I had to do without tarot, I could, but meditation is the key to spiritual growth. And
absolutely.
you
I
are
mean, it's where all the magic is, right? It's
it is
where all
correct.
the
Precisely where all the magic happens.
it's
So
where where you make these connect. I mean,
yeah.
I would not have met Altair if I hadn't, So,
All right. So I recant.
okay. What about this one? The most overused spiritual phrase.
Uh, it is what it is.
Oh, I use that one a lot. Do I use that in a spiritual way?
More
I,
like what's the one? Let it go.
oh yeah, that's another one.
I mean,
That,
and at its core, that is such an important message, not to get bent out of shape over certain things or what someone else is doing. You need to let that go. You do you, they do them.
right.
Let it go.
So then
But you
is it
hear people
really
say all the time, just let it go, let it go, let it go.
well, I mean, and I think that they use it in inappropriate places, right?
True. Yeah, probably.
Here's mine. It's Mercury retrograde. That's why.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, my God, if Mercury retrograde had the horrific consequences that everybody believed it did, the world would just have to shut down during it.
Mhm.
The only reason Mercury retrograde affects you badly is because you expect it to.
I think, is
And
it
you
possible
can't.
that
Go ahead.
sorry.
No, go ahead.
Is it possible that a retrograde could last 4 years?
Just saying. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Okay. What spiritual trend makes your eye twitch? Overcomplicated full moon rituals with a 47-step checklist? Spiritual gatekeeping? You're not really awakened unless you blah, blah, blah. Um, Using shadow work as an excuse to never take action.
I think it's the people that claim to be doing psychic reading or tarot or whatever, and they have and they're spewing anger and fear.
Oh, yeah, right?
It's like you. I mean, those two
That made
things
my
are
eye twitch right now.
Yeah, it's there. All right. Case in point. Say no more.
right? Yeah, I mean, no, you're so right about that. They're um I don't- you know, there was one that I heard a lot in the beginning, and it was that you have to have all your stuff dealt with to be able to heal other
Mm,
people. You need to be healed in order to be able to heal. I
right.
don't believe that fully, but I believe it now to an extent. A person whose filter is filled with fear and rage and anger obviously has things that need to come up for healing and release. And so that is coloring their filter. So that may very well be the information that they're receiving,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
Um,
We got to read Deb's comment. This is hilarious.
Mercury Mercury retrograde is like the little brother that gets blamed for all the trouble the big kids create. The outer planets spend months in retrograde. It's all part of the ebb and flow of energy. I mean, it is what it is, right? There's time to breathe in and there's time to breathe out.
Yep.
You know,
I was almost thinking the little brother that gets blamed for the big trouble, the trouble the big kids create, which is probably us creating our own trouble.
yeah, right? I mean, for real,
Yep.
legit. Um, Interesting. Yeah. Anyway, so I don't know. An interesting place to go today, considering we didn't really know where we were going with this, and these topics and these things we're talking about today are really generated from um, Facebook comments I saw.
Oh, cool. Oh, I like that. That's great. What a great
Facebook, let me
source of
see what.
inspiration.
Let me take. And I will say that I never put the person's name in, but I will copy and paste a comment that triggers me
Mm,
and put it into the AI and just say, you know what, I read this, it made me feel some kind of way. Can you help me unpack what this is about? And I get very, very good information from that. And
oh,
it
that's
gives
lovely.
me the ability to find some compassion and understanding
Oh,
and to
wow.
bring it into, a lot of times people, I'm triggered by punctuation. I'm triggered by misspelling. I'm triggered by those things, which are for whatever reason, just
Mhm.
are what they are. It is what it is, right? Uh, so if you can sort of wash the bristles away
Uh-huh.
and just get to the pure information of whatever the person is trying to convey, very many times I find that I can agree with where they're standing. It's their presentation that I'm having a struggle with
Yeah. Yeah.
rather than the information,
How much of our irritation is just because the presentation annoys us? I think there's
right?
probably that's a really good point.
Right? I
Yep.
mean, for an example, this could be a regional thing. I'm not even sure, but there was a post I've been seeing, and it was join so and so and myself, or no, join myself and so for such and such. It made me crazy. It's
Right.
join me.
Me.
It's not myself. It's
Right.
join me.
Me. It's because it's an
And it was
object.
like, right. And it's like, I couldn't possibly join you now if
Because
I
you did it.
wanted to, because you
That's
know,
funny.
so everybody's like, well, the things that trigger you tell you what you need to heal. I'm not really sure what you need to heal if that triggers you, but it's like if I said John and I's show this week,
Ooh,
there
no.
is no such word as eyes, like
Right.
unless
Yep.
it's eyes,
Right.
two
But I
eyes.
apostrophe S. No.
Yeah, that's not a thing. Um, anyway, so
I'm
so
glad we
you,
agree on this, Angie. This
me
is just
too.
hang on. I got to show you something.
Okay.
This is really good. This is a mug that I bought for my dad shortly before he passed away. It says, "I'm silently correcting your grammar."
I wish I could say I do it silently. I can't say that for always, but I do try to be silent.
but my
that's
dad
not
is
easy
also
for
a
me.
grammar nut.
Um, I hate to be considered a grammar police, but
How about an aficionado?
I love it. I'm a grammar aficionado. Yes, that's perfect.
And
Anyway,
you are.
okay. So that really is the end of the show for today.
Yep.
We had fun despite our little flaws, and we really, really, really appreciate those of you that stick around and listen, even though we
Yeah.
sound like we're
Thanks
nuts.
for making this such a joy.
It really is a joy. So, so now we've got, I mean, if you notice, we've got a few new things. We're going to have that we have the Joy Initiative to start with. We've got the main body of the show, and then we're going to do a little thing at the end, which is just like creative sparks,
Yep. Rapid
like,
fire. Mhm.
like, enlightenment exchange sparks, whether it's a rapid fire question or we're going to pull a card or we're going to show you a deck that we got in the mail that we enjoy. Maybe we're gonna maybe every time we get one of those things, we should try like we did with the inner child deck. How you and I both pulled the same card. That was
Yeah.
crazy.
That
Like you
was
just can't
crazy.
make stuff like that
Nope.
up.
That was a highlight. That was a
So
highlight of our show.
right? We will use that this little 10-minute segment at the end for things that are just fun and quirky and
Cool.
weird like us.
Weird
So
like me.
anyway, and then of course always we end with the energetic high five. We
Mhm.
see you, we feel you, we appreciate you, we have gratitude for you. Thank you for joining us,
Bless you.
and we will see you next week.